Good morning, everybody. Good morning from a sunshiny, beautiful day here in the Philippines. Yeah, I am feeling good, man. I am feeling good. But I was down for a couple days, man. I pulled a muscle somewhere, I think in my back, and it really got me up my neck. Man, I had a stiff neck. I couldn't hardly move around. So got this lady next door over here that does massages. She actually went to a massage school and got trained and certified when she worked as an OFW in Malaysia. Her employer in Malaysia paid for it because then they had an in-house masseuse. And she's great to call up on here. She comes over, gives massages, and sometimes I'll call her. I have friends or somebody here, man. Y'all need a massage, man. We'll call her up. She'll come over and take care of it. Well, she came over. I pinpointed down in my shoulder blade, where I could feel it kind of knotted up and sore there. And I said, I think it's what's putting the pain up my neck. And she didn't touch that spot. Instead, she's over here in my left hand, and then she's in my right hand, and she's up in my eyes right in here, working in here, and she's down on my foot and along my shin and different places, and place on my buttocks and all. And each time she's doing that, I can feel it going away. She didn't ever work any of the area that was affected. She worked all these other areas. On my thumbs here on the side, squeezing in. Oh, it was so painful when she did that. She said, it hurts, doesn't it? I said, yes. She goes, but it's going away, isn't it? I said, yes, it is. And when she left, I was like a new man, but over the hours to come, I was really like a new man. It was unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. And then she gave me a finish off overall massage and stretching, bending my legs, pulling around different ways and all. Amazing, man. It's so handy to have her next door. She's such a nice lady. So I really appreciate her. And the following day, I was able to function again like normal. Man, absolutely amazing. Well, I wanted to get up early and wipe down this boat and put some fresh paint on it. I had some paint left here that we painted with it before. I wanted to use that up and then see how much more I thought I needed before I go to a hardware store. So the first thing I said, well, I'll get my materials together. I checked the paint, it's still good. And before I had a whole bunch of rollers, many handles, 3-inch ones, 9-inch ones. All I could find was this 1 3-inch that has been mega abused. And I had to take a grinder this morning with a cutoff wheel, 4-inch grinder with a cutoff wheel, and split this roller down both sides to get it even peeled off of here. It absolutely amazes me how they waste so bad here. Back home in Texas, I could use the same roller handle and keep it pretty darn clean for many, many years. There is roller handles that was around when I was a kid that belonged to my grandpa. And they are still around there in Texas and have done a lot of work. Paintbrushes. Man, I can clean up a paintbrush and use it again and again and again. And the rollers on these, certain kinds of paints or whatever material you're using on it, I can clean those up and flush them and use the roller again and again. But not here, and it is so aggravating. It is very aggravating. Cap, he has been a painter, my friend Cap, and he'll come down, he'll just shake his head at it, man, of just how they waste. Even my Filipino brother-in-law, Edgar, that lives over next door, he has been in construction and building. He's what they call a mason. He's kind of like a contractor. And he too, even him, it's not a Filipino thing, because him also agrees that they are so wasteful. These boys, it's family and brothers of Melinda and all, man, no matter how much you try to teach them to clean, you buy the materials, or if it's water soluble, And all they got to do is use water and a little effort. No matter how much you try to teach them, they will walk off and leave it all wet. They don't care. And apparently he's been dealing with that for years before I even came into the picture. Absolutely unbelievable. So I thought that I had rat hole back a couple rollers that go on here, and I guess they have found my little rat hole spot too, and got those. So I found that I had no materials, so I had to send Marvin to a hardware store this morning to get me the stuff to paint. But I wanted to be out here early and start painting on this boat. In the beginning, I had little dreams that, oh, I'm going to sand the heck out of this boat. I'm going to make it super slick and smooth, and I'm going to paint it up. But then I thought about it. I'm like, you know what? This is an old pump boat. No matter what I've done to the back of it, modifying it for an outboard, straightening up the keel that was looking like a snake underneath there, no matter what I do, it's still bottom of the line. Just an old, and it's old because I've already had it for years. I've already had it for years, and the people that had it before me had it for years. So this boat's getting some age to it. It's still bottom of the line, an old pump boat. And I'm not going to put that deep of effort into this old pump boat. I'm just not going to do it. But I will put a good coat of paint on it now that we've got it all patched up again and straightened up. And I'm not going to try to enter it in any kind of custom hot rod show or boat show. None of that. So I wonder if any of you are looking and you're seeing my small neck. You see that? Boy, my small neck. The turkey waddle stuff is all going away. Face drawn up. Man, I am loving my carnivore diet. I tell you, I am loving it. I feel good. I'm happy. Man, I'm getting so many rewards. I just need to sit down and do a straight up video on it, but I'm getting so many rewards from this diet. Nothing that's taken a long time. We had some guests here yesterday, Trevor and May, and Trevor's from up in Vancouver and British Columbia, Canada, and he met his Asawa, his wife there, and she's from over in Negros. They come over here and hung out with us yesterday. Super enjoyed them. We went out all together last night. We all sit down yesterday to eat together upstairs up here. Had a little meal together, and I said, you know, I'm sorry, you all, Melinda, the guest, you do your thing, go get what you want because of my diet. And he realized I was on that diet. In fact, he brought me some sirloins from a market over in Negros that he goes to, and I sure appreciate that of him. So they started kind of quizzing me down about my diet, him and his wife, and asking some pretty good questions. And one of the questions they asked was, how long did it take for me to start seeing some of these effects of this carnivore diet? You know, it's take a month, 2 months now. And I told them in the first week, yeah, in 1 week, I was already seeing huge changes. And then I went into the second week, and it was continuing on. No hungers, no cravings, satisfied. It was unbelievable. It's just like somebody switched the carb switch off and switch the fat and protein switch on, and I'm good to go, you know. Then about my third week in, about 2.5 weeks in, I went from high energy that I went through 2 days, about 2 days, that I felt no energy. I felt a little weird, a little off, you know. And I think maybe that's right in the point that a lot of people are willing to give up, you know. Heck with this, because all they're looking for is that excuse that one day you don't feel good from it, and I'm giving this up, you know. And all you're doing is lying to yourself and shortchanging yourself, because what's happening is your body is making a change. Now, I'm not a doctor. I'm going to do a disclaimer here. I'm not a doctor. I'm going by my experience and other people's experiences that we've all shared, and I see what the experiences are that they shared turned out to be true for me also, okay? But you do you. You do you. I'm not giving you medical advice. I'm telling you my experience. So you hit this change, and your body is now finally going to what they call ketosis, and you're no longer surviving off of sugars, all these sugars, carbohydrates. Even your fruits are sugars, even your vegetables turn to sugars. All of that turns to sugar, and your body's working really hard to break down any fibrous material too. I was a cattleman back in the US, okay, and so I know how a cow functions, multiple stomachs and all. We don't have multiple stomachs. We don't have what it takes to break down so much fiber. We're not designed for that. We're not designed to break down fiber. A goat breaks down fiber. A cow breaks down fiber. A sheep, a deer breaks down fiber. But a human, there's only a limit what we can do. We can break down some fiber. And mostly what it breaks down out of there turns to sugars in our body. If you think eating vegetables and fruits only will not make you fat, but that just eating sugar and bread and all that will, well, ponder this. I'm a cattleman, and our cattle were grass-fed, free-range, grass-fed there in Texas. And I had nice, fat cattle, boy. You go butcher one of them, big old layers of nice fat marbling in the meat. Where do you think that fat came from? That fat, it converted to fat from all that grass, because the grasses and the things they eat still turn to sugars. They still turn to sugars. And it's a journey I'm on, and I'm happy with my journey. I'm not going to break the whole list down of what's happening right now, but I'm telling you, I almost feel, I'm not saying this is really happening, but I feel almost like some kind of age reversing is going on, man. It is just unbelievable. One of my happiest things is I'm not needing my reading glasses anymore to see. I don't need them. Melinda's done stuck them away. I've got like 3 pair here. I couldn't tell you where a single pair is right now, because all of a sudden my vision started improving. It started improving. And I got where I need them less and less. And it's like, okay, well, these glasses, at first I noticed that, you got different levels, number 1, 2, 3, 4, and all this kind of stuff on eyeglasses. And I noticed the eyeglasses that I've been using weren't so clear anymore when I put them on. They were actually distorting my vision. And I'm like, okay, so at first I was in this in between. I can't quite see good enough without the reading glasses, and I can't see any better. It goes the opposite way when I put on the reading glasses. So at first I thought, is it getting worse? But no, it was actually getting better, and the number on the glasses that I was using now was no longer effective. It's no longer any good. But now I don't need them at all. That's crazy, right? So that tells me that it has lowered my blood pressure, and that also the sugars and things in my body, and it goes up to your eyes too, were having a huge effect. I was probably pre-diabetes, to tell you the truth. One other thing I want to mention before I wear you out on the carnivore little journey is last night when I'm out with our viewers, Trevor and May, we took them up here to the little fiesta going on in town, and I asked my friend David and his girlfriend to come join us also. So we're all there, and me and David, we just have a lot of banter between each other. I really enjoy that guy, and he don't get butt hurt with my statements. Some people, I joke and got this, you know, kind of maybe a little crude down south humor. I ain't just down south, it's anywhere. I'm just a joker and like to cut up, maybe a bit of a smart ass, right? But David is too, so we get along. and and he can ride a joke, as they say. He can ride a joke. So he said, you know, I was watching your video and you were talking about the color and these blotches coming up in your mustache and your color coming back into it and all, getting these dark places showing up. And in my hair, I know, but look, my hair is getting good color coming back in it. That's a little thin there, but you know, it's getting good color coming back in it and all. And so David, his first thought is going to call all bullshit, right? All bullshit. So he says he grabs his phone and he does a little quick search about hair and carnivore diet and all. And lo and behold, to his shock, there it was. I haven't even researched that. I'm just going by what he told me, because all I can share is my personal experience. I have not even seen what he said, but he said there it was, that man, about regrowth of hair, that it growing back in its natural color, everything, man. And I said, see, I'm telling you, man, I'm not joking with you guys. It is having a real world effect on a lot of things.
What do I believe? What makes me feel it to write you this song? 2 hours a day, 5 months and a year. Oh, I loved you too long. You keep blowing me out, I keep holding you in. I keep asking myself, oh, why do you still hurt? Why do you still hurt? Decide, 'cause I'm sober tonight. I cannot escape, I'm here till it breaks. Oh, how my heart aches. You keep blowing me out, I keep holding you in. Asking myself, oh, why do you still hurt? Why do you still hurt? Still rolling the dice, still hoping to find a future for me. I'm still in this fight, I pray for the night to go easy on me. You keep blowing me out, I keep holding.
Well, I got all the blue painted on the boat. Maybe a little bit when I roll it over. I got a couple coats on this right here, a couple coats on this down here, and then I'll come tape it off and paint all the white down through here after this blue dries, so I can put the tape on it. It's looking pretty good. Up where we put the new plywood, I have applied more coats there. I'll let it get good and tacky. I'll come add another coat, and then I let it get tacky and add another coat. So in that area, I've put on like 4 coats over that new piece of plywood. But it's looking good on this piece on the bottom of the boat here, this solid wood. You can get those wood bores, go into it and tear it up. This thing seems to be in pretty good shape, but any place I saw any little holes, I really tried to fill it up and soak it up with paint so that the water can't get in as deep. And we epoxy some of it too. So like I say, I know it's an old boat. I'm not going to put a mega amount of effort into it, just being really honest, but I want it where I can put it back out here and enjoy it. And without Cap's eyeballs looking so big when he's seen water weeping in along that joint right there. I think it's going to come out to be a pretty nice project. It's a big improvement on the boat again. So the next thing is going to be, I might get it on out of here pretty soon and out to the beach, prop it up, set me up a tarp again out at the beach so I got some shade. And with it turned upright, I'm going to begin building the outriggers for it. And I'll show you how I'm going to do that as we come to that story. I'm turning blue. Most that's not from the paint itself, that's from the dust. A little bit of paint, but a bunch of it's that dust from us sanding off on the boat. I don't know why I didn't put on rubber gloves. I have some. In fact, Vince, the expat that lives over in Oton from down in southern part of Texas there. In fact, he even brought me a big package of gloves. And it's so funny, he's like, I don't want to waste them, so I don't wear them because I don't want to waste them. He brought me some really good heavy duty disposable rubber gloves. So we poured a cross section in here, and it has steel tying these two together. Cross section which locks it so it don't just wash all out. It'll be pouring another one right there, you see. It'll be pouring another one down there. We're backfilling this, and then we'll put about 5 or 6 inches of stone in over the top of that sand. As the sand settles, I'll get more stone and just keep adding in on it until it gets really packed down. So probably by the time it's said and done, there'll probably be about I wouldn't doubt if it'd be about an 8-inch thickness of stone over time added in between these right here. We'll be doing the same thing on the sides. We'll be filling it up. I'll show you that as we get to it. So in the quest of putting a power steering pump on the boat, I needed longer bolts where this mounts, because now where you pull these two bolts out, now you got the thickness of that new bracket that you've got to bolt on in that same place. So I am limited to where I can go buy bolts at here, okay? You know, I'm out on the island here in the Philippines, and I went over to my friend's automotive shop, and he said he didn't have anything. And he suggested I drive all the way to the city. And I tell you what, that just eats up a day. So then I remember right across the road from our subdivision over here is this kind of like junk shop that sells truck parts and stuff. Actually, man, they got like big truck rear ends and tractor stuff and a lot of heavy equipment stuff. And I pulled in there and I asked them, and man, they had me walk in with them. They have just big old bins full of used bolts and nuts and every kind of hardware. I'm like, eureka. And we found 2 longer ones. We matched the threads on them, and they didn't hardly cost me nothing. They next gave them to me. So that was pretty sweet. So I'll just transfer my lock washers off the original ones over onto these, and I'll be good to go again. Over here on the boat, I'm wanting to paint the white. I picked up a paintbrush while I was out, and this is finally not feeling tacky anymore, but I can tell it still needs to dry more. But it's getting there, it's getting there. And I will take some tape when this is dry enough that I don't have to worry about putting tape on it and peeling the new paint off. Probably tomorrow, and I'll pull a new line here, and I'll paint the white paint. I've got it sitting right down here. And I tell you, I know those look old with the rusty tops, but everything rusts so fast here, and those are pretty new cans. So let me tell you something. If you live here near these shores and these salty water areas and stuff, and you buy something like paint, you better use it on pretty quick, unless it's in a plastic can. You better use it on up, because the can will rust through on you and the paint will dry out because holes will go into the lid, or either you'll go to take the lid off and it's just rusted away and you can't even properly open it, and then you'll get inside and realize that the paint done damaged also. So it's hard to store paint and hold on to it here unless you happen to get some of those brands that's in the plastic container, and it may not be the right kind of paint that you need with that. So don't get overboard buying more than you need. So I'm going to use up the rest of white in that one, open up this other one, and get this thing finished up and paint it and get it out to the beach. And then it's going to be time to start my outrigger project. So this is that bracket here. The old bolts and new bolts, because you got the thickness of this bracket now you've got to add in for the length of the bolt. This is where the bracket's going in, way down here at the bottom of the motor. Let's see if I can get you going here. So this is where the bracket's going, way down here at the bottom of the motor. There it is right there. Got one of the bolts in, I'll get the other one in, and then I should be able to hopefully mount up the pump. Well, our little project out here is moving along, man. We didn't get another section poured today because we stopped and did some other stuff preparing for it, but we did get a little retainer section. You can't even hardly see it because we blended stone into it, but we poured this like 6-inch thick little cap wall right here, backfill this with sand, and then topping it off with stone. And look at that, look how it just almost blends in. That's what I want, man, where it just looks like stone. So as you can see, there's the, well, let me get down here. So as you can see, there's the pump mounted in right there. And this is the hole that this adjusted bracket goes in. I'll show you here. It goes right here, and there's a hole right there. Put the bolt in through the front of the pulley, and I have to space it out about that much. And that is it right there. Excited for it. So I'm getting into one more issue again. You see that hole right down there? Turn on the light here. That is the old stringer where the 350 mounted, right? And we had to put new holes going back to where this 4-cylinder diesel mounts in. And this bracket is hitting that where it needs to swing. With the length of this bracket, it's about even just an inch too long, and it's hitting right there. And the only choice I have is to shorten this bracket here. Zoom back, shorten this. I need to take maybe an inch and a half off of it. I don't need that play all the way out to the end. And to keep this from spreading apart when I put a bolt in it, I might need to weld up across that end. I sure may need to, so it doesn't spread out like and fork out on me, you know, like that. So I might end up having to cut it back here. So there it is. I cut just about an inch and a quarter out of it, and probably a little bit, maybe an inch and an eighth that I took out of it. I'll weld this back up on there tomorrow and do a little grinding, painting, and it'll be just like it was never cut off of there at all. And that'll shorten it up, and then it won't be hitting down there where the old motor mounts went anymore for the 5.7 liter. And that should have that little problem resolved. But step by step, I'm gonna get this, I tell you.